Welcome to That's a Wrap, the channel where I review TV shows, movies, and movie trailers. Today's TV show that I will be reviewing is Altered Carbon Episode 8 called Clash by Night. But before I get into my review, if you are enjoying the content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell for notification. And if you're not caught up with episode 8 or up to episode 8 or are not familiar with this TV series, consider this your spoiler warning. Now, on to the review. So we're back, we're picking up where we left off in episode 7. Kovac is finding out that his sister was involved in basically the destruction of the rebellion, and he wants to find out why. And we find out that the sister has been pulling the strings all along. Since she's been alive now for hundreds of years, she's basically been manipulating everything, and she's developed some kind of cult following, I guess. You know, all this religion, she's looked at by like a living god from the Asian gentleman that keeps on blurring himself out of the system. So we find out that basically Kovac's or Takashi's sister has been doing this all along, and she wants basically her brother to join her. And when he questions, he says, what if I don't? She basically threatens him and says, hey, look, you know, I don't want to torture you, but I will if I have to. And so he basically goes along. So she wants to. We know that Kovac or Takashi was hired to find out the killer of Bancroft. Takashi's sister wants that to end, so they need someone to basically frame an innocent person. So they call him like a dipper. I don't really know what that means, but so he agrees to it reluctantly, and we find out that this dipper is Elliots' wife. The twist is that they put Elliots' wife into a male's body, kind of hammering home the point that, hey, things are not what they seem. But it was really emotional to see that reunion between Elliot and his wife, and having that interaction. And I like how Poe kind of puts it. He goes, hey, it doesn't really matter what someone looks like on the outside. You know who you belong to. You know who's yours. You know, like there's different species basically that he says that all that is just a casing. But, you know, when you look at someone's eyes, you could tell someone who the loved ones and who family is, which is very, very touching and actually kind of deep if you take a pause and just analyze that aspect of it. So yeah, it was really, really, really deep. But Ortega wants to find out that what happened to Kovac, because the last thing she knows is that this mystery person came and took Kovac, and she feels that he's in danger. So she's asking one of her friends in the force to look for Kovac, and all of a sudden, or to look for the person that took him, because she has blood on her from Takashi's sister. She doesn't know that yet, and she asks for a favor. But then boom, Kovac is back online, and they find him through facial recognition. So she goes after and finds him. Well, Mr. Luang, I can't pronounce his name, basically tells him like, hey, you have to get rid of Ortega or else I'm going to kill this dipper. And Kovac is stuck in, or Takashi is stuck in a no-win situation. He either has to watch Elliots' wife die in this man's body, or he has to break Ortega's heart. There's a connection there, I guess, since they slept together, and he chooses to get rid of Ortega. So he says, it didn't mean nothing to me. The girl that saved me, I've been looking for her and I found her, so go away. And you can see she's heartbroken, and she leaves. So they decide to take the Dipper, or Elliots' wife, to obviously see Elliot. And when she sees him, that's when we have the scene I told you, when she recognizes Elliot, and there's this reunion. Poe takes them inside to see the daughter, and there's this beautiful reunion. And like I said earlier, that's when we have that very, very deep meaning between what it means to what family is, and when you truly are connected. It doesn't matter. It could be, in this instance, it's his wife stuck in a woman's body, but Elliot doesn't care. He cares that his wife is now back in his life, even though it is in a man's body. And that connection, when they go in and see the daughter, she recognized her mom, even like automatically, even though she's in a man's body. And it was really, like I said, it was just, I love that scene. It's very deep and very emotional. But anyways, so they come up with an idea, or the plan, to basically frame someone else for the death of Bancroft. And they chose to put it all on Prescott. It's basically like his secretary or his assistant. So they develop a way to manipulate footage where Bancroft's going into this brothel or this place, because he has, he's a sexual deviant, basically. And like all rich people, you have to scratch that itch. And so they develop this elaborate plan and how to do it, and Tekashi sells it brilliantly. I mean, he makes the group believe in it, and by the group believing in it, it's more believable for Bancroft. So, and he pulls it off, and it ends up having Prescott being sent back to Earth, or to the slums, basically stripped of all money, no title. Like, he's gonna make sure that no elites hire her. So basically just destroys her life. And the way they justify it is like, look how many lives she's already, which she does. She's so, like, she's not innocent in all this, even though you do kind of feel bad for her because she obviously didn't do it. But they frame it so well that it's like, hey, but to be fair, she has ruined and she's not innocent of any wrongdoing. And throughout the show, you see her trying to pull her weight, and she's definitely has blood on her hands. But you do kind of feel bad for her because she's, at the end of the day, she is innocent, and she is a very loyal servant to Bancroft. And everyone turns on her, and he basically tells Bancroft, hey, I solved your mystery, so I want my freedom and I want to get paid. And Bancroft owns up to his part of the bargain. So after that, we jump over to Ortega because she wants to find out who that mystery person is, and she ends up, I guess, remembering that there's a guy that is connected in the underworld, and she basically blackmails him, saying, hey, you were caught for doing this, so I need a favor now. And he basically takes her to this facility where I'm assuming there's the elites of the who's who. This is where they have all their bodies. And he takes her deep in there, and he takes her like into this vault. Like, if you follow the show, you know right away what it is. You see these ancient weapons, this samurai. You know right away that, she's gonna find out that this is Tekashi's sister. And sure enough, somehow, she gets double crossed by the guy that she was asking for a favor, basically forcing him to lead her down this path. And when she finds out who she is, she finds out that it's Tekashi's sister, she ends up trying to get some help. But then we see the body, basically, of Tekashi's sister, like a clone of her, comes to life. and she's naked, but they start fighting. And Ortega is successful in defeating the first one, but then the next body happens. So she has like a dozen of these clones, and they're all coming to life, but Ortega has a gun and just starts killing them real quick with a gunshot. And Takashi's clone, or Takashi's sister's clone, says, "Oh, you've cost me so much money." I mean, it's her sister, obviously, Takashi's sister. She's aware of what's going on, but she's downloaded herself so many times that she's almost, like I said, she's like a god, basically, what we're seeing here. And Ortega's trying to defend herself, and ultimately she does destroy all of them. And towards the end, the door opens and there's the little girl crying, the same one that Kovac or Takashi ran into in the museum. We know that that's Takashi's sister in that little girl's body, but Ortega doesn't. And Takashi's sister in this little girl's body is acting scared, like, "Oh, she locked me in here and I'm so scared." And Ortega's like basically saying, "Hey, you're gonna be okay," and like hugs her. And that's the end of this episode. So it was a great episode all around. It definitely had its moments though where it lagged a little bit, but you could forgive it because of the fact that they are trying to plug in a lot of holes that they had in the first 3 episodes, and they're filling in the gaps, even though this one furthered the story a whole lot more. The double crossing, I'm assuming, is gonna pay off here in the next I think the last 2 episodes are coming up, episode 9 and episode 10. So I'm assuming they're trying to wrap up where they're going with this, and I'm assuming I'm not sure if they're gonna take out Takashi's sister, but it might be a moral dilemma that he's gonna have to fight, and ultimately he's the one that's gonna end up having to take out his sister, which is gonna be something painful for himself, since we've already kind of seen, hey, we stick together, family above everything, and he's always tried to protect her, and it seems like the show's about to set him up to go back on that promise to always protect his sister, and he's ultimately gonna have to take her out to fulfill what has to be done, or do what has to be done, what he was trained to do, basically. So again, great show. Like I said, it did lag in a couple parts, but there was one scene, again, I said it in the last episode, the spinning camera. They I don't know what happened, but they got really spinny camera happy too much in these last 2 episodes. Again, I'm not sure if they were aware that they will make people nauseated, but it definitely made me a little nauseated with how much they just spun that camera around. And it didn't have any cinematic effects, so I didn't really understand it, but whatever. They just, again, went crazy and said, hey, we could do this, so let's do this a lot more. Kind of like when you find out, like when you're editing and you find out some little new trick, you keep on doing that new trick until either someone calls you out or you just outgrow it. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, it furthers the plot very, very nicely. So yeah, if you haven't seen the show, like I've said before, go out and check it out. It's on Vudu, Netflix, Amazon. There's just so many places to check out this episode, and the fan base is pretty heavy and pretty loyal to this series and to the books and everything that comes out of this. They're pretty loyal, so you'll definitely have a community to talk with and throw ideas and theories and everything we might think of in this show. So let me know what you guys think of this episode in the comments. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys think it lulled too much? Do you guys agree with me with that camera, with the spinning camera? Is like too much? Put your thoughts down in the comments. I can't wait to read them. And like always, that's a wrap.